Jack Harmon stood at the viewport, watching the stars blur as the diplomatic vessel approached the Galactic Council station. His reflection stared back at him, a man with hard eyes and a face that hadn't smiled in years. The combat log sat heavy in his pocket, small data crystals that contained humanity's darkest hours. "Lieutenant, we dock in 10 minutes, said the pilot. Jack nodded without turning. 50 years of silence was about to end. 50 years since the Krell had nearly wiped out Earth. 50 years of rebuilding, planning, and waiting. The council station loomed ahead, a massive ring structure with 7 spokes representing the founding species. Humans had never been invited before. They had been considered too primitive, too violent, too unpredictable. "Remember your orders," said Admiral Patel through the comm. "Show them only what they need to see." Jack touched the scar that ran from his temple to his jaw. "Yes, sir." The ship docked with a gentle shudder. Jack straightened his uniform and picked up the secure case containing the logs. His heart pounded against his ribs as the airlock cycled open. 7 council representatives waited in the reception chamber. Tall, short, scaled, feathered. The diversity of sentient life would have amazed Jack once. Now he only saw potential allies or enemies. "The human representative arrives at last," said the Vexari ambassador, his translucent skin pulsing with blue light. "We expected someone of higher rank. I am Lieutenant Jack Harmon, survivor of the Krell War," Jack said, his voice steady. "I bring the combat records as requested." The Morrigan representative, a being with 4 arms and metallic skin, leaned forward. "For 50 years, your species has refused communication. You ignored our hails. You destroyed approaching vessels. Why should we trust you now?" Jack placed the case on the central table. "We had our reasons." "Primitive paranoia," hissed the Vexari. "Your species barely achieved interstellar travel before retreating into isolation. Perhaps the Krell simply recognized your inherent threat potential." Jack's hand tightened on the case. "You want to know why we stayed silent? I'll show you." He opened the case and activated the first crystal. A holographic display flickered to life above the table, showing Earth as it once was, blue, green, peaceful. Then the Krell ships appeared, thousands of them, darkening the skies over major cities. "First contact," Jack said quietly. "They came without warning." The hologram showed the initial bombardment, Chicago vanishing in nuclear fire, London crumbling, Beijing falling as Krell ground forces swarmed through the streets. "We tried to surrender," Jack continued as the council members watched in stunned silence. "They didn't want surrender. They wanted extinction." The hologram shifted to show human soldiers fighting back with primitive weapons against Krell battle armor. Civilians running from harvester ships, children hiding in ruins. 8 billion humans on Earth before the Krell came, Jack said. 1 billion survived the first month. The Morrigan representative's metallic skin had dulled. "We had no knowledge of this. The Krell told the galaxy they were conducting peaceful negotiations with a new species," Jack said, "while they were burning our world." The final image showed a lone human ship, badly damaged, leading a Krell battlecruiser into an asteroid field. "That was the Defiant," Jack said. "My ship. We were the last line of defense for the Mars colonies. 200 crew. I was the only survivor." The hologram faded. The council chamber fell silent. Then alarms blared throughout the station. The Vexari's skin flashed red with fear. "Unidentified vessel has entered the system," announced the station AI. "Configuration matches Krell Empire design." On the viewport screen, a massive ship appeared. Black, angular, bristling with weapons. A ship Jack recognized from his nightmares. "Impossible," whispered the Morrigan. "The Krell haven't been seen in council space for decades." Jack closed the case slowly. "They followed me here, just like I knew they would." The council chamber erupted in chaos. Alarms blared as the massive Krell warship loomed on the view screen, its black hull absorbing the light of the nearby sun. "This station has no weapons," the Morrigan representative said, all 4 arms moving in agitation. "We are diplomats, not warriors." Jack grabbed the case with the combat logs and moved to the communications panel. Get your people to safety. I need to send a message. The station shook as the Krell ship locked onto them with a tractor beam. The Vexari ambassador's skin pulsed with fear patterns. They are demanding we surrender all human representatives immediately, said the station AI. Jack's fingers flew across the panel. Not happening. What are you doing? Asked the Morrigan, watching Jack input a complex sequence. Calling the Ghost Fleet. The council members exchanged confused glances. The Vexari moved closer, his translucent body trembling. Ghost Fleet? What is this? Jack finished the transmission and turned to face them. What humanity was building during our 50 years of silence. The station's main screen flickered as an incoming transmission forced its way through. A Krell commander appeared, his armored exoskeleton gleaming under harsh lights. 4 red eyes focused on the chamber. Surrender the human Jack Harmon, the Krell demanded, mandibles clicking. He is a war criminal who must face justice. Jack stepped forward. Show them the second log, he told the station AI. The hologram activated again, showing a different scene. A small human vessel approaching a damaged Krell scout ship. The footage was grainy, taken from a helmet camera. This was 15 years after the invasion, Jack explained as the council watched. Commander Sam Reeves led a team to capture Krell technology. It was the first time we managed to take one of their ships intact. The hologram showed human soldiers in makeshift spacesuits boarding the alien vessel. The fighting was brutal, close quarters. Many humans died, but they secured the ship. We learned how their tech worked, Jack continued. Then we built our own versions. Better versions. The footage shifted to show massive underground facilities on Mars and the Moon, where humans constructed ships using Krell designs but with modifications. Commander Reeves led a suicide mission 3 years later, Jack said, his voice tight with emotion. He took our first prototype ship and lured an entire Krell battle group into Jupiter's gravity well. He sacrificed himself and his crew to save the Mars colonies. The Krell commander on the screen hissed. Reeves died a coward's death. Jack's face hardened. I was there. I was his communications officer, the only survivor he sent away in an escape pod to make sure someone lived to tell what happened. The station shuddered again as the Krell ship began pulling them closer. They will board us in minutes, the Morrigan said. Jack smiled for the first time. No, they won't. The view screen suddenly showed new signals appearing around the station. One by one, ships materialized from what looked like empty space. Dozens of them, then hundreds. Human vessels with sleek designs that resembled Krell ships but with distinctive differences. Adaptive camouflage, Jack explained. Another technology we improved. The Krell commander's 4 eyes widened in what might have been fear. This is Captain Diane Frost of the Ghost Fleet flagship Vengeance, came a woman's voice over the comms. Release the council station immediately or be destroyed. The Krell tractor beam disengaged. The station stabilized. Jack walked toward the screen, staring directly at the Krell commander. You asked why humans stayed silent for 50 years, he said, his voice carrying across the chamber. We weren't hiding. He placed his hand on the hologram projector, ready to activate the next log. We were hunting. The council chamber fell silent as the Ghost Fleet surrounded the Krell warship. The alien vessel, once menacing, now seemed small against the human armada. Impossible, the Vexari ambassador whispered, his skin pulsing with fear patterns. Your species was nearly extinct. Jack activated the second combat log. The hologram showed Earth in ruins, cities burning, survivors huddled in underground bunkers. We had nothing left to lose, Jack said. So we did what humans do best. We adapted. The hologram shifted to show the captured Krell scout ship from the first log. Human engineers swarmed over it, taking it apart piece by piece. The Krell made a mistake, Jack continued. They thought they killed enough of us that we couldn't fight back. But they left scientists alive, engineers, soldiers. The footage showed the first human-built ships based on Krell designs. They were crude, ugly vessels cobbled together from salvaged parts. We call this the Ghost Fleet because officially it doesn't exist, Jack explained. Built in secret asteroid bases and hidden lunar facilities. Every ship designed for one purpose. The hologram showed a human vessel ramming a Krell cruiser, both ships exploding in silent space. To kill Krell, Jack finished. The station shook as the Krell warship fired its weapons. The Ghost Fleet ship scattered, returning fire with precision. "We need to evacuate." Captain Frost's voice came through the comm. "Lieutenant Harmon, bring the council representatives to Docking Bay 3. Jack grabbed the case with the combat logs. "Follow me if you want to live." The council members hurried after him through the station's corridors. Emergency lights flashed red. Station personnel ran in all directions. "The Krell are boarding on level 4, announced the station AI. Jack checked his sidearm. "We need to hurry." They reached a security checkpoint where 2 Ghost Fleet Marines waited. The soldiers nodded at Jack and opened the doors. "Lieutenant," one said, "Captain Frost says to tell you Operation Broken Chain is active." Jack's face hardened. "Already? That means they brought reinforcements." The Morrigan representative grabbed Jack's arm with one of her 4 hands. "What is happening? Who are you really?" "I told you I'm a survivor." Jack pulled away. "And right now I'm your only chance to survive too." They reached the docking bay just as an explosion rocked the station. Jack stumbled but kept his balance. The Vexari ambassador wasn't so lucky, falling to the floor with a cry. A Ghost Fleet shuttle waited, engines running. The pilot waved them aboard. "Move," Jack ordered, helping the Vexari up. As they boarded, the bay doors at the far end began to glow red. Something was cutting through. "Krell boarding party," the pilot warned. "We need to launch now." "Wait," Jack said. He placed the 3rd combat log in the hologram projector. "The council needs to see this first." The hologram activated, showing Commander Sam Reeves on the bridge of his doomed ship. Blood ran down his face, fires burned around him, his crew lay dead at their stations. "This is Commander Samuel Reeves of Earth Defense Force," the recording said. "I am activating the adaptive protocol. Jupiter Station, confirm receipt." A voice responded, "Confirmed, Commander. Your sacrifice will not be forgotten." Reeves looked directly at the camera. "Jack, if you're watching this, remember what I told you. The Krell can be beaten. They think in straight lines. We don't." The bay doors burst open. Krell soldiers in full battle armor stormed in, weapons raised. "Go," Jack shouted to the pilot. The shuttle launched, barely clearing the bay as the Krell opened fire. Through the viewport, they watched the council station grow smaller as they raced toward Captain Frost's flagship. "That was Commander Reeves," Jack said quietly. "My mentor. He saved my life by forcing me into an escape pod. Then he rammed his ship into a Krell dreadnought, destroying both." The Morrigan's metallic skin reflected the stars outside. "You said he activated something called the adaptive protocol. What is that?" Jack was about to answer when the shuttle rocked violently. A Krell fighter had locked onto them. "Evasive maneuvers," the pilot shouted. The shuttle spun and dived, but the Krell stayed on their tail. Weapons fire streaked past the viewport. "We can't outrun them," the pilot warned. Jack moved to the communications panel. "This is Lieutenant Harmon, requesting immediate assistance." A new voice came through the comm. A voice that made Jack freeze. "This is High Commander Vexikar of the Krell Empire," the voice said in perfect human English. "Lieutenant Harmon, I have waited 50 years to meet you again." Jack's face went pale. "That's impossible. You died on Jupiter." "I survived, just as you did," the Krell commander replied. "And now I will finish what I started with your species." The shuttle system suddenly shut down. A tractor beam locked onto them, pulling them toward a massive Krell vessel that had just appeared from behind the station. "What is happening?" the Vexari asked, trembling. Jack stared out the viewport at the approaching Krell ship. "They found us, the real enemy, not just soldiers." He turned to face the council members, his eyes hard with determination. "You wanted to know why humans stayed silent, you're about to find out." The shuttle shuddered as the Krell tractor beam pulled them toward the massive enemy vessel. Jack moved quickly, opening a hidden compartment beneath the floor panels. "What are you doing?" the Vexari ambassador asked, his translucent skin pulsing with fear. Jack pulled out a small device. "Plan B," He pressed it against the shuttle's main console. The lights flickered, then came back brighter. The engines roared to life. Counter-tractor technology, Jack explained as the shuttle broke free. Another human innovation. The pilot spun the shuttle away from the Krell ship. Captain Frost is sending an escort. ETA 30 seconds. Jack activated the third combat log. The hologram showed Earth cities in ruins, but something had changed. Humans were fighting back. This is the adaptive protocol, Jack said. Our answer to superior Krell technology. The footage showed guerrilla fighters using strange weapons against Krell soldiers. The aliens fell as invisible energy pulses hit them. We couldn't match their firepower, Jack continued. So we changed tactics, became unpredictable, used their psychology against them. The hologram shifted to show a Krell command center. Human infiltrators in stolen Krell armor planted devices on the walls. The Krell are a hive species, Jack explained. They think as one, attack as one, die as one. The devices activated, emitting a high-frequency pulse. The Krell soldiers collapsed, clutching their heads. But that unity is also their weakness. 3 Ghost Fleet fighters appeared alongside the shuttle, providing cover as they raced toward Captain Frost's flagship. The Krell never expected us to keep fighting, Jack said. They thought we would surrender after they destroyed our major cities. The hologram showed the ruins of Chicago. Jack's voice grew tight. My family lived there. My parents, my little sister. I was off-planet when the attack came. The Morrigan representative's metallic skin dimmed with what might have been sympathy. You lost everyone. Like millions of others, Jack said. But we didn't break. We adapted. The shuttle docked with Captain Frost's flagship, the Vengeance. As they disembarked, a tall woman with short gray hair and a scarred face waited for them. Lieutenant Harmon, she said. Welcome aboard. Captain Frost. Jack saluted. The council representatives need protection. Frost nodded. Follow me to the bridge. The Krell are jamming communications with the Ghost Fleet. We're on our own until we can break through. They hurried through the ship's corridors. Crew members ran to battle stations. The ship shook as Krell weapons fire hit the shields. Shield strength at 60%, announced the ship's AI. They reached the bridge. Through the main viewport, they could see the Krell armada growing larger. Dozens of ships now surrounding the Ghost Fleet. High Commander Vexcar is hailing us, said the communications officer. On screen, Frost ordered. The Krell commander appeared. His exoskeleton was more elaborate than the others, with glowing red lines running through it. His 4 eyes fixed on Jack. Lieutenant Harmon, Vexcar said. The last time we met, you escaped in a pod while your commander died. Will you run again? Jack stepped forward. I didn't run. I was ordered to survive, to remember. And what good has your memory done? Vexcar asked. Your species is doomed. The Council cannot save you. Captain Frost activated a control panel, initiating broken chain protocol. The ship's lights dimmed momentarily. When they came back, something had changed. The Krell ships on the viewport seemed to move more slowly. What did you do? The Vexari ambassador asked. Time dilation field, Frost explained. It gives us a few extra seconds in combat, enough to make a difference. Jack inserted the 4th combat log into the hologram projector. This is what the Krell fear most, why they tried to wipe us out. The hologram showed a laboratory deep underground. Scientists worked on what looked like Krell neural technology, but modified. Operation Broken Chain, Jack said. Our plan to break the Krell hive mind. The footage showed test subjects wearing neural interfaces. They screamed in pain, then suddenly calmed. Their eyes glowed with the same red light as the Krell. We learned to intercept their communications, Jack continued, to insert our own thoughts into their network. The Morrigan representative stepped back. You weaponized your minds against them? We had no choice, Jack said. It was adapt or die. A massive explosion rocked the ship. Alarms blared across the bridge. Hull breach on Deck 7, reported the tactical officer. Krell boarding parties detected. Captain Frost drew her weapon. Seal the bridge, prepare for... Her words cut off as a hidden panel in the floor burst open. A Krell soldier emerged, weapon raised. Before anyone could react, the Vexari ambassador moved with surprising speed. He threw himself between the Krell and Captain Frost. The Krell fired. The energy blast hit the Vexari full in the chest. He collapsed to the deck, his translucent skin fading to gray. Jack shot the Krell soldier. It fell back into the opening. How did they get aboard so quickly? Frost demanded. The dying Vexari ambassador looked up at Jack, his voice barely audible. I told them everything. Jack knelt beside him. You're the traitor? They promised to spare my world, the Vexari whispered. I believed them. His skin went completely dark as he died. Jack stood slowly, facing the stunned council members. Now you understand. The Krell don't negotiate. They infiltrate. They corrupt. They destroy. The ship rocked again as more Krell vessels opened fire. We need to abandon ship, Captain Frost said. The Vengeance can't take much more. Jack looked at the combat logs in his hand. Not yet. They haven't seen the final log. There's no time, Frost argued. Jack's eyes hardened. There's always time for the truth. The escape pod hurtled through space, its systems barely functioning. Inside, Jack sat with the remaining council members and Captain Frost. The Vengeance had been lost, sacrificed to buy them time to escape. Emergency beacon activated, Frost said, her face illuminated by the red glow of warning lights. If any Ghost Fleet ships survived, they'll find us. The Morrigan representative looked out the viewport at the distant battle. Explosions flashed silently in the blackness of space. Your ship, she said. All those people. They knew the cost, Frost replied. Her voice was steady, but her hands trembled slightly. We all do. Jack held the final combat log, turning it over in his fingers. It's time you saw the end. The real reason the Krell fear us. He inserted the crystal into the pod's small projector. The hologram flickered to life, showing Luna Base, humanity's last major stronghold after the fall of Earth. This was recorded 20 years ago, Jack explained, the day we discovered the human equation. The footage showed scientists working frantically as Krell ships bombarded the lunar surface. A woman in a lab coat faced the camera. This is Dr. Elena Harmon, lead researcher on Project Empathy, she said. If you're seeing this, our plan worked. Jack's jaw tightened. My mother, she survived Chicago. I didn't know until years later, Dr. Harmon continued. We've discovered the Krell weakness. Their hive mind processes information logically, mathematically. It cannot handle emotional data. Human emotions overwhelm their neural network. The hologram showed test subjects connected to modified Krell technology. They weren't in pain like the earlier tests. They were calm, focused. We're uploading the full spectrum of human emotional experience directly into their network, Dr. Harmon explained. Joy, grief, love, hate, hope, despair. Everything that makes us human. The footage showed Krell ships above Luna suddenly losing control, spinning wildly. Some crashed into each other. Others simply shut down. It's working, someone shouted off camera. Dr. Harmon looked directly at the camera. Jack, if you're alive, if you see this, know that we found a way, not to destroy them, but to change them, to make them understand us. The base shook violently. Alarms blared. They've breached the main dome, someone yelled. Dr. Harmon stood firm. Complete the upload, no matter what happens to us. The signal must reach their homeworld. The footage showed Krell soldiers breaking through the laboratory doors. Dr. Harmon turned to face them, unafraid. This is humanity's gift to you, she said to the Krell. Understanding. The hologram ended abruptly. Jack closed his eyes for a moment. When he opened them, they were clear and determined. That was the human equation, he said. We discovered that Krell can be changed if they experience human emotions. Their hive mind can't process feelings the way we do. It overloads their network. Is that why you stayed silent for 50 years? The Morrigan asked. Captain Frost nodded. We weren't hiding. We were implementing the largest trap in galactic history. Jack stood up, steadying himself against the pod's wall. Every Ghost Fleet ship carries an emotional transmitter based on my mother's design. We've placed thousands of them throughout Krell's space, dormant until now. He pressed a button on his wrist device. This is Lieutenant Jack Harmon, authorization code Phoenix Rising. Activate all transmitters. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, through the viewport, they saw the Krell ship stop firing. Some began to drift aimlessly. Others turned away from the battle. It's working, Frost whispered. A transmission came through the pod's comm system. High Commander Vexcar's voice, but different. Uncertain. Almost afraid. What have you done to us, he asked. These feelings, these memories, they're overwhelming. Jack leaned toward the comm. We've given you humanity, Vexcar. Everything we are. Everything we feel. Now you understand why we fought so hard. I see your mother, Vexcar said, his voice breaking. I see what we did. The pain we caused. The Morrigan and other council members watched in amazement as the Krell fleet began to retreat. Is it over? The Morrigan asked. Jack shook his head. No, it's just beginning. A massive human fleet appeared from hyperspace, surrounding the remaining Krell ships. Not just Ghost Fleet vessels, but ships of designs the Council had never seen before. The real human fleet, Jack explained, built in secret beyond the edge of known space, ready if the equation failed. He opened a channel to all ships, Krell and human alike. This is Lieutenant Jack Harmon of Earth. The war ends today, not with extinction, but with understanding. He looked at the council members, then back to the stars. You asked why humans stayed silent for 50 years. Now you know. We weren't planning revenge. We were creating peace. The pod's beacon flashed as rescue ships approached. Outside, the Krell vessels powered down their weapons. The human equation, Jack said quietly. Our greatest weapon was never our ships or our technology. He placed his hand over his heart. It was this.